Hi everyone, it's Carrie and welcome back to my channel. This week we're going to look at how to grow strawberries in a rain gutter. One of the questions that I was curious about is whether it would work in a Zone 3 area or where we live in Alberta, Canada. So I took some time to do some research and I'm going to share that with you. Stay tuned to the end of this video where I share the pros and the cons to growing strawberries in a rain gutter. The flavor of a store-bought strawberry can never compare to the flavor of a homegrown strawberry, but not everyone has room to plant a garden. Fortunately, you can convert a piece of rain gutter into a planter to grow your own strawberries. You can mount these planters on a deck rail or mount several onto the side of your house or shed to grow the plants vertically. I had the perfect space for the rain gutter to go on our south-facing side of our deck. We used 10 feet of rain gutter. The first step we did was putting the metal end caps onto the gutter and crimped the edges to the gutter with a pair of pliers. Then we immediately drilled it onto the side of the deck. My husband was worried about the weight of that, and so he put 2 pieces of wood underneath of it to give it a little additional support. Then we went along the next step and measured the drainage holes onto the bottom of the gutter every 4 to 6 inches. And drilled the drainage holes with a 1/4 inch drill bit and power drill. What's really important to do is to make sure that you place the gutter in a location that provides at least 6 hours of full sun per day before filling the gutter with the soil and planting the strawberries. The correct plant spacing for rain gutter strawberries is to have 3 plants in 4.5 feet of gutter. And so 10 feet of gutter gave me enough space to put 7 strawberry plants. One thing I quickly realized was even though these strawberry plants looked gorgeous, they were root bound. What's root bound? Well, let's take a closer look. That it has dense roots that are tightly packed into the container. And you might think that a plant with a lot of dense roots is a better choice than a plant with sparse roots, but it's actually not the case. If the problem is not corrected before planting in the garden, a root-bound plant just often keeps developing its roots in a tight circular fashion and never sends those roots into the surrounding soil. This can hinder the good growth habit and even cause the plant to eventually choke itself. These roots resisted untangling by hand, and so what I had to do was cut slits into the root ball with a pair of scissors. Most plants are quite tough, and by severing the roots, you make it easier for the plants to send new roots out into the surrounding garden soil. By cutting the roots, I was able to plant the transplant so that the crown was just above the soil level and the top roots were at least a 1/4 inch below the soil. A buried crown will rot if the strawberries are planted too deeply, and the roots will dry out if it's planted too shallow. And the last step is to water the strawberries with a watering can. Strawberries require about 1.5 inches of water per week. Fertilize June-bearing strawberry plants twice a year, once very lightly when you plant growth begins, then again after the plant develops fruit. Everbearing and day-neutral strawberry plants prefer consistent, light fertilizing about once every 2 weeks. If you enjoy content just like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. Click on that little bell so you get notified when my new videos come out once a week. I would love to have you as a viewer. So like I said at the beginning of the video, there are several benefits to using rain gutters for strawberries, and there's also several drawbacks. Let's go look at this a little bit closer. So let's start with the primary benefits of growing strawberry plants in rain gutters. Number 1, it minimizes soil contact. Strawberry plants are small, they don't have woody stems, so their growth is usually only about 12 to 18 inches at most. The fruit trusses that have the flowers, eventually strawberries, are often a bit shorter and shaded by the canopy of strawberry leaves. These fruit trusses are also non-woody. When the strawberries begin to grow and ripen, they are too heavy for the fruit trusses to support. They end up bending the truss until the berries rest in the soil. This is one of the reasons straw is used in a traditional strawberry bed to keep the berries off the soil. The soil can harbor pathogenic fungi and other creepy crawlies that can infect or infest your strawberry planting. So keeping strawberries off the dirt is important. Additionally, rain can splash muddy soil up onto your strawberries and contaminate them that way. Using gutter systems minimizes this risk. Number 2, it makes strawberry picking easier. Since strawberry plants are short, regular picking requires either a lot of bending or kneeling. That is a recipe for sore backs and sore knees. Most gutter systems place the height of the gutters to minimize the strain on the body during picking. So growing strawberries in gutters is a great idea for people with back and knee problems. It is important, however, to keep this in mind when designing or choosing a gutter system. Number 3, strawberries grown in gutters are easy to protect. Humans aren't the only creatures that love to nibble on strawberries. Rabbits, raccoons, possums, and especially birds of all kinds. Crows can do a number on them, all pose a threat. While no protective system short of a locked greenhouse will keep a starving animal at bay, growing strawberries in gutters does make protecting strawberry plants easier in some ways. Birds pose the greatest threat to strawberries in most places. Once they find a strawberry bed, they come back over and over as if it's their own personal bird feeder. A-frame gutter systems, wall-mounted systems, PVC systems, and other trough-based systems are usually very amenable to covering with bird netting. Bird netting will generally keep birds away and makes it much more unpleasant for rabbits and other critters to try to get at your strawberries, especially when they're off the ground. Number 4, growing strawberries in gutters makes some maintenance easy. Just like picking is easier with most gutter systems, growing strawberries in gutters allows for ease during certain maintenance tasks. Snipping first-year blooms is easier, snipping runners is easier, and renovation tasks that are still applicable for gutter systems are usually easier as well. Number 5, gutter strawberries are very flexible systems. Probably the greatest benefit is their ability to adapt to virtually any situation or environment. Growing strawberries in gutters is a great option for people with limited space or no available soil. Gutter systems have grown in urban settings, rooftop gardens, and deck, patio, porch gardens all over the world. Literally, the locations for gutter gardens are almost limitless. Anywhere you can affix a gutter, you can be a strawberry growing location. Gutters can be nailed to sunny side barn walls, built into a vertical A-frames, or almost anywhere else. The system can be adapted and modified to fit virtually any vision or desire. There are a lot of benefits to growing strawberries in gutters, but it isn't all wine and roses. There are some significant drawbacks to growing strawberries in gutters also. Here are the major challenges you will likely face if you decide to go gutter. Number 1 is water problems. People often plant strawberries in gutters that are level and have end caps. This will often result in strawberry death due to lack of sufficient drainage and/or pathogenic fungal infection. To minimize this, a slope is approximately of 7% should be built into the construction, and/or drain holes should be placed to prevent the gutters from filling up with water to saturation. Additionally, it can be more difficult to maintain adequate water levels as the gutters are usually more exposed. This can result in the soil drying out more rapidly, and not enough moisture will kill the plants just as surely as too much will. Number 2 is insulation problems. Ground-planted strawberry plants have well-insulated roots. Many feet of continuous ground horizontally and down protect the plants from both rapid shifts in temperature and the extremes of winter and summer. Gutter-planted strawberries have no such natural insulation. Consequently, the soil can get too hot in the summer in many places and too cold in the winter. So keeping the roots cool enough to produce a good crop of strawberries can pose a problem for strawberries planted in gutters, and especially in zones colder than Zone 6, extra insulation will almost certainly be needed during the winter months to keep the roots and crowns from freezing through and dying. During the winters, you can bring the gutters into an unheated garage for extra protection. If a basement is unheated also, it would probably work during the coldest months as well, but it needs to be cold enough to keep the plants in dormancy. You must water the plants regularly to ensure that the soil doesn't completely dry out as long as they're under cover. If both of those are not an option, gutters should be wrapped with an insulated material to protect them. The material will likely have to be removed periodically to water the plants and then reapplied. Number 3 is growth and root problems. Strawberry roots can go downward up to 12 inches in the right conditions. Even in poor or heavy soils, they will usually grow downward 6 inches. Many types of gutters are less than 6 inches deep and less than 6 inches wide. While the majority of strawberry roots grow on the top 3 to 4 inches of soil, the rest of the roots contribute significantly to both plant growth and strawberry production. By constricting the root area to the size of the gutter used, many gutter systems inadvertently limit both plant growth and strawberry production. Number 4 is temperature problems. The insulation problem mentioned before is similar to this. Strawberries are temperate by nature and need cooler roots to produce well. Elevating plants in gutters can make them overheat in the summers and die or produce no strawberries. Likewise, soil warmed prematurely in the late winter or early spring can induce plants to leave dormancy too early and then suffer cold injury with sharp, rapid temperature shifts downward. And last is number 5, perennial problems. Strawberry plants are perennial by nature. The primary problems that we've mentioned before affect the ease with which the gardener can enjoy them year after year. Additionally, strawberry plants have a productive span of about 4 years. In order to maximize production each year, utilizing the runner plants produced each year is a good idea. Rooting and then transplanting them helps keep the strawberries coming each year. This process is simply more difficult when you grow strawberries in gutters. Obviously, growing strawberries in gutters is a great option for a lot of people. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. But it isn't without its challenges too. With proper planning and execution of a good gutter system, great harvests can be obtained. But they aren't just a plant and forget system. They require monitoring, just like in-ground strawberry beds do. And the specific challenges you might run into when growing strawberries in gutters typically means that the monitoring process is a bit more involved and frequent. But if you're up for the challenge, it can be very rewarding to pick ripe strawberries with minimal picking efforts. So now you know the benefits and drawbacks of gutter strawberries. Here's wishing you the best of luck and successful strawberry harvest. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed watching how to grow strawberries in a rain garden, you might also like this next video where I show you how to grow potatoes in a dollar store laundry basket. If you go right now, you can click on that link right there and you can watch that video next. Thanks for joining me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I would love to have you as a viewer.